answer our question, does the theory of evolution really matter? Absolutely yes. Besides just being interesting, the theory of evolution is continually guiding us to new, sometimes life-changing discoveries.
Without knowing the structure of DNA and without knowing from that structure now a lot of the mechanism by which DNA is replicated and accurately and corrected, if not replicated accurately, it would be a great mystery.
Certainly, our ability to study DNA markers across the human genome and to identify which ones track with certain diseases would be completely absent. And as a result, we would not be able to discover the genes that underlie disease. And we would not be able to right now be looking forward to a future in which we will be able to treat the causes of disease much more effectively than we can today because of these genetic discoveries.
The world was full of people getting lost at sea, and the whole thing was a bloody mess. Until the 11th century when Han Dynasty China invented the very first maritime compass. The first compass used a lodestone, which is a naturally magnetized iron ore. The compass quickly spread throughout the rest of the world via maritime contact. And so finally people could safely traverse the seas and travel far away from their homelands to distant new worlds, opening up new trade routes and starting the Age of Discovery.
The unification of the celestial with the terrestrial, that the same laws that govern the planets in their motions govern the tides and the falling of fruit here on Earth. It was a fantastic unification of our picture of nature.
Gravity was the first force to be understood scientifically, though 3 more would eventually follow. And although Newton discovered his law of gravity more than 300 years ago, his equations describing this force make such accurate predictions that we still make use of them today.
In fact, scientists needed nothing more than Newton's equations to plot the course of a rocket that landed men on the moon.
In 1876, Alexander Graham Bell patented the telephone. Hello! Now, it was first named the electric speech machine. Very exciting. Now, the invention became wildly popular and categorically revolutionized worldwide communication and global business. Fun fact for you guys, the term give someone a bell, meaning to ring them, actually comes from the name of the inventor of the telephone, Alexander Graham Bell.
The humble light bulb has evolved from a weak little light into the bright lamp of today. It was the metal filament that came into the market at the beginning of the 20th century that made it all possible. Carl Auer von Welsbach succeeded in 1898 to produce the first metal filament lamp with the chemical element osmium. A few years later, the tantalum filament light was developed at Siemens and Halske. This was followed by the tungsten filament lamp that came into the market in 1905 and is to this day in use. The light bulb has been providing us with light and warmth for around 130 years now, without its form being changed very much. Now, with new forms of energy-saving bulbs and light-emitting diodes, the light bulb of the 20th century can be retired with
The introduction of electricity had a dramatic impact on daily life. The most obvious impact was the use of electric lighting. Lamps were considerably brighter than candles or lanterns, which helped improve eyesight. Also, as electric lighting became more available, it eventually proved to be much less expensive than the oil or gas used to light lanterns. It was also cleaner than other forms of lighting, because there was no soot or smoke filling the air. The number of house fires dropped significantly because there were no longer as many open flames in people's homes. Manufacturers began introducing a number of appliances and other devices that used electricity. Most of these devices were intended to make life easier.
But but we have at least seen something of the origins of a technology which has been so important to human history. So, whether you've taken your car to work, or maybe decided to ride in on your unicycle, be you hurtling along the track of a death-defying roller coaster, or coming in to land your prized plane, or even just carting round your shopping in the supermarket, take time to appreciate the wonderful wheels around you and the thousands of years which have gone into developing them. But remember that wheels are not a Stone Age invention, they're relatively new, and for far longer than we have had them, we lived quite happily without them.
Work has continued at Oxford, where yet another mould has produced yet another penicillin-like substance, Cephalosporin C. This too has a basic core, which in turn can be used to build a family of antibiotics to carry further the attack against germs which formerly had resisted. All these mighty weapons against disease stem in some way from the forging of the first one, penicillin. The great discovery, for which in 1945 the world rightly and gratefully honoured Dr. E.B. Chain, Sir Howard Florey, and Sir Alexander Fleming, pioneers in a struggle which promises now to drive back that ancient enemy, disease.
By the year 1500, an estimated 2,000 different book editions, broadsides, and pamphlets were created in more than 70 European towns, along with charts, advertisements, calendars, and proclamations. Printing created a flood of books in the markets. Textbooks also became more affordable for students. Printing played a role in just about every major event from here on out. It impacted the development of nations in modern Europe and the colonies around the globe. It may not have been the direct cause of religious, scientific, technological, and political changes during those centuries, but it definitely sped up the process of things and was an agent for communication along with change. The invention of the printing press started a new technological industry. Some inventions that came from it were the steam-powered press, photography, photocopying, and laser printers.